Marketer, I'm going to tell you a story, but first let me challenge your acumen with this question. Here are 2 blank buttons. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to determine the best text for these calls to action. I can tell you this, it'll be easier with the surrounding context. So here are the words that appear around the button. Now look at them closely, all right? As you think about that, what button text would you choose? Let me make it easier. We had to choose ourselves to run an experiment. And in fact, we chose these 2 phrases: estimate my monthly payment or get started now. Now, I've asked you to vote on these in an earlier FAST class. Which one do you think would produce the highest conversion? Listen, the goal of the call to action is to initiate and complete the exchange of value. You're exchanging their attention for your explanation, their contact info for your download, their credit card for your free trial, their money for your services. And we have to learn how to affect that powerfully. In fact, we've been studying this for 2 or 3 weeks, and we're on section 5 of the landing page blueprint. We're focused on these last 2 of the 8 micro yeses. And in this session, we're going to conduct a telling analysis of an experiment with 2 calls to action. And in the process, we're going to learn 7 dangers that could hurt your conversion. Let's begin with the first point, the experimental control. Which version will produce the highest conversion? I ask you this question, but let's think about it more deeply. Essentially, we're asking, which version has the highest net force? If we subtract the perceived cost from the perceived value, what is the net force? Well, to understand that, we need to study the negative forces in this articulation, in this particular call to action. It says, complete a free online budget analysis to help us understand your unique situation. Now, that may just seem like words on a page, but it's actually a careful formulation designed to produce a psychological condition. So let's analyze it. Which brings me, by the way, to the first word and the first point. The first word is complete. Now, that's a word that implies work. It's a seemingly positive word. It's good to be done. But it can often be a negative word. It implies you have to keep on going until you're all finished. The negativity of that word makes it a bad choice for a start, which brings me to the first principle. Do not start with a word that implies work. Now, let's keep going. Complete a free online budget analysis. Wait a second. Think about that. Is free a positive word? Well, I think that depends on what is free. There's a lot of things that are free that I don't want. What's free in this case? Well, apparently it's a budget analysis. So again, is free a positive word? Not when the item that I'm getting free is something I really don't want, which is a budget analysis. Which brings us to 2 more dangers. Beware of allowing the word free to signal the meaning cheap and to skew negative word combinations like this phrase, budget analysis. But let's keep going. Here's a third important principle. But notice the word to. To is a word that can signal a why. And so in a sense, this articulation is signaling that you're going to do this work, and here is why. Wait for it, wait for it. The answer is to help us. Wait a second. You want me to do all this work to help you? Well, afterwards, there's this sort of meaningless formulation of understand your unique situation. It's drivel. It doesn't mean anything in particular. So it's negative. In a sense, you're saying you want me to work so you can get what you want. And that brings me to the next danger. Strip away all vague phrases. Think about this fulcrum again. How would you weight this message? How would you weight the call to action? How much force does it have? Well, let's analyze it one more time in a single picture. Well, complete a free online budget. So far, complete is negative. Free is negative. Budget analysis, negative. The word to could have been positive, but it indicates the wrong reason, to help us, which is also negative. Understand your unique situation, also negative. It's meaningless. So it's powerless to help with conversion. So again, which version is best? But before you decide, remember in the last FAST class and in a different experiment, the exact words "get started now" won. But are they the best words in this case? Well, let's analyze the other formulation. So here it is, too, the experimental treatment. It begins with estimate your single low-interest monthly payment by entering your debt information on our secure site. Let's start with the same question. Is the word estimate a positive word? No. It feels like work also. But I don't think it's quite as odious as the word complete. It should be improved, but let's keep going. In the last class, we said there were 3 ways to tip the fulcrum. We said you could take weight off one side, you could add weight to the other, or you could shift the base. This treatment shifts the base, and you can learn from that. You say, well, how does it do that? Let's look at the modifiers. Estimate your single, low interest, monthly, secure. So these phrases are modifiers, and what they're doing is shifting the base to achieve more perceived value. They're doing so by carefully, even narrowly defining the get so that you can, as a prospect, appreciate the additional value. By doing this, we're getting closer to motivation. That brings us to point 5. Use your modifiers to calibrate value. Now, let's look at the negative words: estimate, payment, debt. These are potentially negative words, but there's something remarkable happening beneath the surface of the message. The key is found in just 2 letters, the word buy. This 2-letter word transforms the message. They are inverting the emphasis, justifying the ask with a compelling reason. In fact, they're doing the opposite of the control. The control is saying, to help us. The treatment is saying, we can get you this if you'll do such and such. By entering this, you're going to get what you really want. It's powerful, and it brings us to the last 2 dangers. Emphasize the customer's gain first, and justify difficult asks with powerful customer-centric reasons. Marketer, that's the key. The exchange sum is the result of an intuitive calculus. We determine this sum not with complicated math, but with elementary and mostly intuitive arithmetic. We subtract perceived cost from perceived value, and if the result is negative, then we have a problem. What you and I have to do is tip the forces in favor of perceived value. Marketer, are you signaling cheap when you should use the word free? Are you using negative word combinations? Have you stripped away vague phrases? Have you used your modifiers to calibrate value? Have you emphasized the customer's gain first? Have you justified difficult asks with powerful customer-centric reasons? These are keys to getting your call to action right. Let's learn together. Let's grow together. And let's make a difference.